The star of the show up in Seattle not too long ago was a creature called a geoduck. I'd never seen a geoduck before. It's basically a giant clam, fascinating animal, spends all of its life buried in the sand, can live for over 150 years. Tastes fantastic. Looks like something you don't want to put in your mouth. The geoduck.
Growing up by Puget Sound, in the northwest corner of the nation, it's hard not to have your life shaped by water. For me, vacation and summer have always meant canoeing, clamming, fishing, beachcombing, and time spent in or near the salt. However, occasionally, all that summer fun is interrupted by a task so quintessentially Northwest, its name is pronounced wrong nearly everywhere else: digging a geoduck. In 1893, Norway declared its independence from Sweden. Today, my family still celebrates the 13th of May with an annual Suttonamai party, though we cheat a little bit and celebrate in June in order to capture a little bit of sunshine. Everyone is invited to my Uncle Rob's beach cabin, which is located on Carr Inlet, part of the Puget Sound. We all don our best Norwegian sweaters and proudly wave Norwegian flags. There is the singing of the Norwegian prayer, and a game of volleyball is a necessity. It has been happening since before I was born, and there are roughly 25 pictures just like this one. Even the non-Norwegians, like my grandpa, look the part. It is at Suttonamai that a geoduck digging is most likely to take place, and it is there that I first learned the incredible effort required to get one of the huge clams. If you like sticking your face in the mud, geoducking might be for you. Though the geoduck is somewhat unsightly and is usually buried a yard or more beneath the sand, the effort required to get the geoduck is all rewarded in the taste. A delicacy in Asia, a geoduck is a rare treat. The neck, since you probably will ask, tastes something like a chicken, if a tad more rubbery. Have you eaten it? Maybe. It's an ingredient in sushi. Recently, geoducks have been all over the news in Washington due to proposed state regulations involving aquaculture. These debates got me interested in looking at the scientific literature behind the harvest of geoducks. Sure, digging a geoduck may be a Northwest tradition, but if it is ruining the beaches I love most, that's an important thing to know. The road to geoduck research does not actually begin with geoducks, because they have not been researched in terms of harvest with any data that's been published, yet. So, we have to begin with other bivalves. Cockles, a relative of the geoduck, are a good starting point. Peter Ferns, of the Cardiff School of Biosciences in Britain, conducted a study in 2000 to assess the impact of mechanical cockle harvest on the beach. Dr. Ferns usually studies birds, so much of his analysis looks at the effect of tractors on the bird population. Yet, the study clearly shows that utilizing mechanical harvest to gather cockles has a negative impact on the beach ecosystem. For fauna to come back took roughly 56 days, while populations of other vertebrates and invertebrates were depleted for several months. The study was unable to determine the ability to make a full comeback, but concluded that using tractors to harvest cockles in sensitive areas was not a good idea. Though the effects of mechanical harvest were now known, nobody had yet researched the effects of digging a clam the old-fashioned way. This inspired Megan Dethier of the University of Washington to set up an experiment. Dr. Dethier attended Carleton College and earned her Bachelor of Arts in Biology before continuing on to the University of Washington. In 1981, Dethier was awarded a doctorate from the UW Department of Zoology. She wrote her dissertation on Washington tide pools and has been studying Pacific Northwest beaches ever since. In 1983, she was awarded a postdoctoral fellowship at the UW Friday Harbor Laboratories. She says she is broadly interested in marine ecology. However, she focuses on the ecology of the intertidal zone, mostly studying rocky beaches and algae. Dr. Dethier's 2006 article, titled Invertebrate Community Responses to Recreational Clam Digging, looked at the effect our shovels have on the beaches of the San Juans. It was published in Marine Biology, which has an impact factor of 1.593, making it the 22nd ranking in marine biology. Dethier's study looked at multiple beaches on the San Juan Islands and analyzed the levels of organisms in the sand over time. There were 3 conditions: digging a hole then filling it, and just leaving the beach as it was. One of the beaches was here, at British Camp on San Juan Island, where the British once staked claim to what is now part of the US. Because this study simulated beaches left undisturbed and those left open to digging through these treatments, the study revealed a great deal about the potential for reserves to preserve marine organisms. Hole samples had significantly reduced species richness compared to control samples. However, there was no difference between fill samples and controls. Thus, though the study revealed digging holes for clams will dramatically reduce the marine population in an ecosystem, refilling those same holes was found to be a good remedy for the problems of digging, with no difference found between the control beaches, which were those left plain, and those that had the holes filled in. Dethiers concluded that filling holes allowed many of the organisms to re-establish, while not filling them back in left the beach depleted. Because of the incredible negative effects of not filling the holes back in, Dethiers recommended a rotating systems of closure for beaches. Dethiers' study reveals a lot about the effects of beach disturbance can have on a marine ecosystem. Though she was studying clam digging, the results of Dethiers' study can be applied back to the study of geoducks. Geoducks have been harvested in Puget Sound for hundreds of years. The word for them even comes from the Chinook jargon word for dig deep. However, modern technology, the geoduck, and the world of modern trade have all collided to create a new issue. Because a geoduck is a delicacy in Asia, and popular here in the US too, geoduck farming has become an incredibly profitable industry. The state of Washington and British Columbia both have private shellfish companies harvesting geoducks on state trust lands, and both industries do a booming business, leading to calls for expansion. However, with the farms have come complaints. Environmentalists and property owners have cited the destruction of beaches and entire inlets due to the farms, which liquefy the beach in order to pull up the geoducks. While Dethiers' study reveals that even disturbing the sand has negative effects on the beach, many have argued that geoduck farms dramatically amplify these effects. Thus, in light of these claims, the Washington State Legislature directed Washington Sea Grant, a federally funded marine research center out of the UW, to investigate the effects of geoduck aquaculture on the beaches of Puget Sound. Washington Sea Grant actually sent out an all-call for scientific literature on Washington State's favorite bivalve, but found the amount of literature was too underwhelming. So, they set out to investigate not only the effect of geoduck farms on the beach and organisms, but also on the nutrient and water quality in the area surrounding the farms, as well as differences between geoducks grown by man and those that live naturally. The study is not scheduled to be complete until 2013. However, Washington Sea Grant provided the legislature with an interim report in late 2009 that gave a presentation of their data. This has actually been cited in academic journals. Since the study has not yet been completed in its entirety, the final outcomes are yet unknown. However, the scientists at the UW have found from their data that 1. Geoduck farms' populations of other small creatures can recover within 6 months after farming is completed. In addition, geoduck structures can actually lead to more mobile organisms visiting the sites. Significant disturbances to nutrients do not occur as a result of the farms. And finally, eelgrass on neighboring plots is affected, but the recovery times of the eelgrass beds are not yet known. These were only preliminary results though, so the true effects of the farms is not yet known. Is that more study needs to be done, as well as the main ones completed, before the main effects of geoduck farming can be fully understood. Until then, interest groups and companies alike will continue to debate the effects of aquaculture on the Puget Sound. It's an important issue, not only here, but in the rest of the world. As aquaculture and the effects of it are weighed against the environmental costs of such action, difficult decisions have to be made between economic success and environmental preservation. Pictures like these, which I found in my research, have given me a negative view of geoduck agriculture. Yet, it is likely that balance between the industry and nature is what is most needed. Perhaps the good scientists at the UW can learn how to profit from the geoduck without destroying the beaches. For me, and other individuals digging geoducks around the Sound, I think it comes down to responsibility. Choosing to fill in my holes on the beach, not harvesting it in the same area repeatedly, and not completely disturbing all the sand are all good steps towards a healthy geoduck. It turns out we can harvest geoducks, we just have to be careful about the way we do it, and fully understand the consequence of our actions before we undertake them. We have to remember that some things we think are okay for the environment today might not end up being as safe as we had once thought. 2023 will be the 100th anniversary of my family's journey here from Norway, and that same year we just might be celebrating 130th this month. Though we are Norwegian, we are now a people of the Northwest, rooted amidst the mountains, the Sound, and the trees. Geoducks are a part of that land. I hope scientists can keep studying them, and we can learn how to properly care for both the geoducks and the beaches of the Northwest.